Hello, good morning. Happy Friday. If it is a happy Friday for you, if it's a sad Friday, that's okay too. So this morning, I'm going to be joined by my dear friend who I met from the yoga world back in Montreal. Her name is Emily. She is absolutely lovely, and we've stayed connected. She loves coming out to visit Knowlton, and she ended up signing up for my one-on-one coaching program that I put out there in October for my birthday month. So I've been coaching her for the last month and a bit, almost 2 months now actually, and she has so many gifts. She is a Reiki master. She does Reiki for animals. And one of the other things she does is tapping, EFT tapping. So I've experienced tapping a few times before. And first of all, I don't know, she's going to explain more, but it's very relaxing. It's very soothing. And if maybe typical meditation is challenging for you or doesn't work for you, tapping can be another interesting way to go about it. So she said there could be different themes. And so she asked me what I wanted to work on. There she is. There we go. And what I wanted to work on was disconnecting. What she has up her sleeve to help us. There'll be different affirmations that she shares, and you're welcome to just join along. It's not just for me that she's doing this. Here we go. Yay! Good morning.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm so excited to be here with
Yeah,
you.
too. I'm just gonna. There we go.
I can't but help but think that it's slightly ironic that like the topic that I wanted to work on was disconnecting, and yet here we are in front of our screens.
Yeah.
But my
Um,
work that I'm trying to do is not, can you hear me okay?
I hear you. Okay, I can't see you anymore.
Oh, hmm.
Hold on.
Do you see, I see you below me. I don't
I
know
see
if,
myself as well. It's just that I don't see you. So
uh,
it's it would be.
better to see me.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna.
We can always, do you want to jump on again? Did you see me at the start?
Yes, I did. So let me jump back.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good. I'll keep doing an intro. All right, she'll be back. But just to share a little bit, I've been doing or attempting to do this version of a digital detox, which for me, it was never going to be completely disconnecting because I co-own a yoga studio and I do the social media. So I want to be present for that. And I love sharing about everything we have going on at the studio. I have my own stuff going on that I need to share about or I want to share about. But it's been still really hard to create boundaries and structure around when I show up and for what reasons without getting slightly distracted. And it's not even just the scrolling. There we go. I'm sure some of you can relate to all of the things you get pulled to on in your emails, on social media. Even for me, I love doing Canva. So there's all these things that I love doing in front of a screen. I was just sharing a bit about the digital detox I've been attempting to do. But yeah, I need support. I need help. Can you see yourself now?
I see myself. I still don't see you.
Oh, that's so strange. I don't know.
It's okay. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
I'll just lead you into it, and I guess you'll do it at the same time.
Yeah, you can trust that I'm following along.
Yeah.
The replay will show you and me at least.
Perfect.
Good. Good morning. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. This is my first live, so there's a bit of stress.
I don't think you'd be alone in that. We've been doing these wonder workshops for female entrepreneurs at the marina, and a huge blockage people have is, yes, social media, but also like showing their face on social media too, and especially live. Like it just takes practice if it's something you want to do, you know, it's not for everyone, but I think showing your face is a really important piece of the puzzle for people to get to know you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Actually, it's just I hadn't been on social media for a little bit. Like I hadn't posted anything for like a year and a half, so I'm just starting it.
And then I peer pressured her to do it. So I have my oil
Yes.
and had
Um,
suggested I've got frankincense with me.
Perfect. this is such like one of the best. It's the king of oils,
Do you want
obviously.
to name, yeah, my sister gave this to me. Do you want to name a few of the oils in case anyone has any kicking around? It doesn't need to be
Yeah,
doTERRA.
no, it really doesn't. But so yeah, so let's just so I don't know if you talked about this, but what actually tapping is. So right before we
Yeah.
jump into like what oils to use, I love to add oil to my practice, to any practice that I have. So it's great that he has them too. So basically, just to be on the same page about what tapping is, I started tapping like a few years back, and it's funny because it is such like a quick and effective and like supportive tool that you can have, and it's the one that I wish I would remember more to use like super often because it is amazing. It's like really magical. But basically, so tapping is kind of a mix between acupuncture, but like without needles. Like hypnosis and psychology. So basically, it was inspired by Chinese medicine to focus on the Meridian points, like the energy hotspot that we have in the body, and like the acupoints. So basically, the same thing that an acupuncture like you can use with needles, then you do it, but we'll do it with tapping with our fingers, so it won't hurt. I promise.
Okay, perfect. And I said to you earlier before you jumped on how maybe some people like myself like struggle with meditation, just like the sitting and kind of doing nothing. And this could be another option for that, I assume, too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So my little like ADHD person, I can't really sit down and just be still for a few minutes for meditation, but tapping is actually perfect because you do move at the same time, like the body, so you feel like you're still in movement, but it gets you grounded in ways that it's rare that I feel this way of like how grounded this practice can make you feel within seconds. It's really not a long practice. Like I usually take maybe 10 minutes of tapping, 10 to 15 minutes max. Even with my clients, it's like it's really quick and really fun.
Amazing.
So yeah, so for today, so I had listed like a bunch of oils that if ever you want to tap along with the oils you can use. So I had sent you a few. And you said frankincense. Frankincense is for truth. So I think it's very
Ooh.
perfect for it's for truth. And I am choosing patchouli today, which I rarely use, but it is a very grounding and balancing oil, so I'm really happy. If not, you can use lavender if you feel stressed. There is lemon for focus as well. There is bergamot for self-acceptance. There is magnolia for compassion. So there's a few oils that you can use depending on the intention that you set for your practice of today.
Wonderful. I got mine ready to go.
Perfect.
And it's okay if you don't have oils too. I think you can.
Yeah, I just love to add it, but it's totally okay. So basically, just to there are different ways of practicing tapping. So after like a few research that I've done, like a few practitioners that I followed, I decided to kind of make it my own. So if ever you do fall in love with tapping, I usually recommend to do like your own research and find the way that you love. I feel like it's a very personal practice, but you can choose the way that you want. There's no like right or wrong way to do it. So I'm just going to show you how like the spots that we're going to hit, and then after we can start. Perfect. I can't see you, so I don't know where you're at.
Oh, I can see you. I feel like we're in the same room.
That's a good thing.
I'm here. Don't worry.
It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, so basically,
oil on those spots.
Yeah, no, actually, it's going to be in your hands, and you're just going to rub it, and then so I'm just going to show you, like, because you can do so usually we take like one or two fingers, and then you tap, but you tap in a way that obviously you don't tap hard enough so it hurt you, but you just tap that you can feel it. So you have to feel like the tiny little bit vibration of your tap for sure. So I usually put oils like at the tip of my fingers as well. So it doesn't matter if you use your right or your left hand. It doesn't matter if you use both hands at the same time. It doesn't matter if you start from right to left or left to right. It's really up to you and what makes you feel more comfortable. There's also a statement that we will say out loud throughout the practice. There's some people will use like negative statement to move the negativity along. I usually choose to say positive statement. So it's really more of the feel of the moment. You do not have to say the statement out loud. It is just recommended to have a bit more impact when it's said out loud, because it's like you're using your voice and it kind of leaves your body at the same time, which is my issue, is to say it out loud. So it's a great practice right now. So basically the points that we have about like 10 to 12 points to hit. So when we start to practice, usually we'll drop into the body and we'll have like make deep breath at the same time. And when we're ready to start, the first point that we'll hit is the acupoint that is on the carotid top point. So the one just on the side of your hand. So usually, like if you use two fingers, it feels like you can feel it a bit harder. Like just to make sure that you feel it. So we'll tap there for a few seconds. This is when we start with that. And then the next point will be the top of the head. Okay. And it's really like where your crown chakra is, you know, it's really in the middle of the head, like this. And then it's between the eyebrows, so the third eye chakra. And then we have this side of the eye right there, kind of like near your temple, near the end of the eyebrow. And then underneath the eye, underneath the nose.
Smells good.
Your chin. And then your collarbone. So for this, I use both hands because we have two right there and it's easier. So the collarbone's right there, the little bump they have. This is the next one is the point that I added for myself, because usually I tap for anxiety, and my anxiety feels in my chest and my heart. So I added this point for myself. Okay. But I show this to my client as well, because it feels like, so it could be on the heart or like just a bit over, like on the chest. So what's interesting is like when you feel the need of start like your tapping practice, I always tell my clients to name the emotion that they're feeling. They're trying to name the emotion that they're feeling, and especially in try to figure out where in the body they feel it. So like I said, for me, my anxiety is my chest, or when I'm stuck in traffic and traffic's a mess, I usually start tapping the carotid choke point. So after the chest, we have under the arm, so right there. And then we'll end with tapping the wrist. Together, yeah. So that's pretty much the sequence, and okay, cool. We'll go through, and I have a few statements to say out loud, and obviously if you are able to repeat it at the same time, repeat it. If you can't because you're in a public place, it's okay. It has great impact if you just say it in your head as well.
And do you do like you did the temple on this side, do you do the other side as well, or it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. You can do both at the same time. Okay. I love to do one side, but like I said, there's no right or wrong. Just feel like do how you feel is right for you.
Okay,
this way.
Perfect.
So what was just to repeat, to like, what was your intention for today's session?
A big part of it is I mean, it's disconnecting. It's not to be like, living out in the woods with no technology at all, but it's just to have more space where I'm not, I say like at the beck and call of my phone, like I did turn off all my notifications except for text, which has been fine, but emails and messenger, so that already cleared out a lot of just like literal bings, and where I felt like I needed to respond right away. So that's been a good start to the practice, but I still catch myself like picking up my phone to just check, like I'm not getting the notifications, but I'm like, oh, did anyone message on Messenger? And I do run a couple businesses, so there is that almost this guilt, I guess, for not, feeling like I'm on top of it, or that I'm participating actively. But yeah. It's this made up thing that we do to ourselves, where it's like everything's fine. People
Yeah.
can wait a few hours. Like it's okay. But yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, for sure. I think it's very interesting that you named that intention because after that, when we decided to do the session, I saw that a bunch of my friends are also going on digital detox.
Mm,
So I think there's like a need right now to just disconnect from social media, disconnect from like, unplug from the screen that we have
mm,
at the tip of our fingers. So I think it's so perfect right now.
good.
So you ready to start?
I'm ready.
Okay.
You can see I put my fingers up. You can't see me, but
Yeah, I didn't think I was so sorry. I can see you. So like, okay.
technical difficulties, but at least we're here. It's
We're here and I
working.
can hear you. So that's perfect.
Good.
I'm just gonna, I know you'll
Okay.
follow along. So just to let you know how we'll go, basically first time around, we just do the acupoints, we just tap on it, no statement, no nothing. The second time around, we'll add some statements. And again, it's just like usually go with the intuition that if you practice by yourself, the statement can be very personal to you. Okay, so you can just follow along. Once we've done the second round, but then we're just going to check with our feelings, how we feel in our bodies, if we still feel some kind of pressure, tension, or stress.
Mm,
And we should do this maybe 2 or 3 times. We'll see how it goes.
sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. So if you just want to find a comfortable seat and take some very deep breath. You can also practice your eyes open and your eyes closed. I love eyes closed. I feel like it's more grounding, but it's up to you. So just a few more deep breaths. And in this moment, it's only your tapping session. There's nothing else. So we'll go around one round, just tapping. We'll start with the karate shell. So the side of your hand. And throughout the session, just take long, deep breaths. The top of the head. In between the eyes. The side of the eye. Under the eye. Under the nose. The chin. The collarbone. The chest. Under the arm. And the rest together. So you can stop, take a few deep breaths. And how do you feel just after this round?
It feels so relaxing. Like it's just it feels like a gentle massage. Um, yeah, it's so simple, but yeah, it just feels super relaxing.
I feel like even me that was a bit stressed. I'm feeling already like more,
Mm.
oh, it's okay.
Hmm.
Um, so basically you tap as long as you want on each point. You know, we usually I will change points when I change statements. And then when you figure it out, you know, if ever there's some I feel like sometimes there's a spot that I need to tap longer, then I will, you know, there's no rush. You take your time to do it.
Mm. Kim is joining us. She said so relaxing.
Perfect.
Assuming she's doing it from work too, which is really nice.
Great. So we'll do a round with out loud statements. And like I said, you can repeat out loud, you can repeat it in your head, you can tweak it a bit to make it more of your own. But it's gonna be really fun. Perfect. So we'll start again with a few deep breaths. And when you're ready to start, we're just gonna hit the side of your hand. So the statements are pretty much always start the same way and end the same way. So if you just want to repeat along. Even though I feel guilty to disconnect,
Even though I feel guilty to disconnect,
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Even though I feel reluctant to disconnect,
Even though I feel reluctant to disconnect,
I deeply and completely respect myself.
I deeply and completely respect myself.
At the top of your head, even though media is energy,
Even though media is energy,
I choose when I interact with this energy.
I choose when I interact with this energy.
I choose how I interact with this energy.
Choose how I interact with this energy.
Between the eyebrows, I decide how much of my own time I put into social media.
I what?
I decide how much of
Uh-huh.
my own time.
I decide how much of my own time I put into social media.
On this side of the eye, I decide how much of my own energy I invest in this media.
I decide how much of my own energy I invest in this media.
Under the eye, even though sometimes it feels like I get stuck in a vortex,
Even though sometimes it feels like I get stuck in a vortex,
I am ready to change that.
I am ready to change that.
And I deeply and completely love myself.
And I deeply and completely love myself.
Underneath the nose, it is okay to disconnect.
It is okay to disconnect.
I am okay if I disconnect.
I am okay if I disconnect.
The chin, I decide when I unplug.
I decide when I unplug.
Even though I want to disconnect,
Even though I want to disconnect.
I deeply and completely respect myself.
I deeply and completely respect myself.
Collarbone. Even though I don't notice how always plugged I am.
Even though I don't notice how, what?
Always plugged I've
How
been.
always plugged I am.
I appreciate that I need to disconnect.
I appreciate that I need to disconnect.
I appreciate that I'm ready to reconnect to other things in other ways.
I appreciate that I'm ready to connect to other things in other ways.
On the chest, it's okay to unplug.
It's okay to unplug.
I'm okay if I unplug.
I am okay if I unplug.
Other people are okay if I unplug.
Other people are okay if I unplug.
My business is okay if I unplug.
My business is okay if I unplug.
Under the arm, even though I found it really hard to disconnect,
Even though I find it really hard to disconnect,
I deeply and completely trust myself.
I deeply and completely trust myself.
The wrist, I appreciate that I need to disconnect.
I appreciate that I need to disconnect.
And I am ready to disconnect.
And I am ready to disconnect.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
So you take a second, take a few deep breaths. Let the statement sink in, let the tapping move through your body. How do you feel after the second round?
That felt really good. I love the combination. I think the tapping alone is great, but adding those sort of statements or affirmations, especially in such a loving way, it's not just saying like, I will disconnect, or that sort of thing. It's like, I actually still love myself. It's okay. I'm, like I'm doing a great job. It's okay.
I love it. At first, it feels a bit. I'm not gonna lie. It feels a bit silly to say this statement, especially like at the end. It's always you repeat, but it kind of sink in ways that it's just it really gets to you. And I'm like, it's okay. I'm okay.
Yeah. I was already thinking about, I mean, not trying to get out of the moment, but being like, I'm going to do this every morning. Like, I'm just going to watch this video every morning and start my day like that.
Perfect. So we'll do a second round.
Okay.
The statement are going to be like pretty much the same. You can tweak it if you want eventually, but it's pretty much that's the gist of it.
I'm just going to share, as Chantal says, I've been blocked for a bit. After this, I feel lighter and like there's a renewed flow of my energy and calmness. Thank you both. I feel the same. I felt this sense of lightness too. And I mean, the sun is kind of shining through right now too, so that obviously helps. But yeah, there was almost this like openness in my chest a little bit more, like the breath could flow easier too.
I'm so happy to hear this. But tapping is so great for so many things. So yes, we have like something very specific today that you're doing. Like you asked help with your digital detox, which I thought was perfect, but it's very specific. So you can also like tap for general things. You know, it could be for addictions, it could be for phobia, it could be for fear, trauma, grief, especially. So anxiety, like I'm the first one to use it for anxiety for sure. So it's really, you can really tap for anything. So this is a really great practice. Like I said, it's going to take what, 10 minutes, 10, 15. Yeah. You can practice by yourself or in front of the mirror. And it's, yeah. It's
wonderful.
So shall we go for round 2?
Sure.
Yeah. So again, a few deep breaths. And when you're ready, let's start with the side of the hand again. Even though it feels like the right time to unplug is now.
Even though it feels like the right time to unplug is now.
I appreciate that I needed to be accepting of where I am.
I appreciate that I need to be accepting of where I am.
Top of the head. Even though I want to disconnect from a media-connected world.
Even though I want to disconnect from a media-connected world.
I deeply and completely respect myself.
I deeply and completely respect myself.
In between the eyebrows. Even though I feel reluctant to disconnect.
Even though I feel reluctant to disconnect.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I am okay if I disconnect.
I am okay if I disconnect.
On the side of the eye. I might be ready to disconnect.
I might be ready to disconnect.
But I'm going to give myself some time.
And I'm going to give myself some time.
I appreciate that I might need more time.
I appreciate that I might need more time.
Under the eye. I decide when I unplug.
I decide when I unplug.
I decide when I disconnect.
I decide when I disconnect.
And I completely trust myself.
And I completely trust myself.
Under the nose. I feel hopeful about disconnecting.
I feel hopeful about disconnecting.
I appreciate how and when I'm going to disconnect.
I appreciate how and when I'm going to disconnect.
On the chin. Even though I might be scared to disconnect.
Even though I might be scared to disconnect.
I deeply and completely trust myself.
I deeply and completely trust myself.
Collarbones. I am in control and I decide when I unplug.
I am in control and I decide when I unplug.
My business is okay if I unplug.
My business is okay if I unplug.
My clients are okay if I unplug.
My clients are okay if I unplug.
On the chest. Even though the truth is I'm not sure if I want to disconnect yet.
Even though the truth is I'm not sure if I want to disconnect yet.
I deeply and completely love myself.
I deeply and completely love myself.
I am ready to connect with other things in other ways.
am ready to connect with other things in other ways.
I am ready to go inwards.
I'm ready to go inwards.
On the side, under the arm. I am ready now.
I am ready now.
I am ready to disconnect.
I am ready to disconnect.
I am ready to give myself time and space from social media.
I am ready to give myself time and space from social media.
I am ready to call back my energy.
I am ready to call back my energy.
I am okay if I disconnect.
I am okay if I disconnect.
Wrists. I appreciate where I am right now.
I appreciate where I am right now.
And I am ready to unplug.
And I am ready to unplug.
How do you feel after this round?
Even better. At first I was like, oh, one is enough, like that was good. That was plenty, but it really is helpful to, I mean, those were like those statements as well. I feel like you said, they were similar, but it kind of just like drove it home a little more, the like internal messaging of it. So that was, yeah, amazing. And like you said, it still doesn't take very long. It's very impactful though. Yeah.
It's really just a few minutes. Obviously, you can do like longer sessions where I would add journaling. I would add like more of like meditation and reflection. But if 10 minutes is actually quite enough.
Amazing. Well, I so appreciate you and you doing this for me and my community. This was such a joy. And I'm so excited to use it again and to have other sessions with you for various reasons. It's so, so helpful. And Emily lives in Montreal, so if ever you're in need of Reiki, tapping, you do the aromatherapy, there's like such an array. If you have an animal who needs a little bit of Reiki love, Emily's your gal. And I think if people are around maybe more so the Eastern Townships or different areas, they could connect with you over Zoom as well, right?
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for inviting me. That was really fun.
Okay, good. Now we can do more of these now that you've got one out of the way. That first one is always hard. All right, thank you. And if anyone has any questions, reach out to Emily or myself if there's anything. And we hope you have a wonderful Friday, a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you all very soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining. Merci beaucoup. Bye.
Bye.